Hi and welcome to our introductory class on bank clerical grade examinations. We will be starting today with our English classes for the same. As always, it is a good practice to start from the very basics. So today we will be doing basic grammar. Now before we start with our class, I would like to tell you a few things. So number one, a good grasp of language is extremely important for you to do well, not just with this examination, but with any competitive examination that also tests you on English. Now you will figure that most competitive examinations today do have a section devoted to the English language. Now it's not just about your English skills that are at play, that are being tested with these sections, but also remember that you are being tested on your communication skills, your understanding skills, okay? So your reading skills, for example, okay? So why is it that there is huge focus on the English language here, okay? Now remember again, it's not exactly a language test. It is all about how comfortable you would be in communication at the workplace. Okay, so it is of utmost importance, and something else that you can look at from the examination perspective is English is one section where you can score a lot. Okay, so make use of this time to grasp your concepts, your basic concepts pretty well, so that you have a very good edge when it comes to the exam. Okay. So of course, part of your preparation is, you have your basic concepts in hand, you study those concepts, you study your vocabulary part and all that. Also remember that very good language, not just English here, very good language comes with constant use of the language. So you need to be in a position to use the language, confidently, not just to read or write, but to put ideas forth. Okay, and for this there is no other shortcut. There is absolutely no shortcut to this. You build a very good language skill with reading, regular reading. So if you haven't already started on your reading progress, please start now. Okay, so I cannot tell you enough on the importance of reading, but it's like super important. Without reading, it's very hard. No, it's just impossible to find someone who has the right language skills if he's never read a book in his life. Okay, and when I say a book, it's not just your syllabus books, of course. Okay, so pick up a book, start reading for pleasure. Okay, so today we will be doing basic parts of speech, okay, and we'll be focusing much on the noun part of the grammar section today. Okay, so it's an introductory session on grammar. Okay, I would also like to tell you that there are several other videos devoted to grammar from HashLearn, so please look into those as well. Okay, so let's look at the rudiments of what goes into the language. Okay, now whenever you speak a language, there are several components that make a sentence. Okay, now not all phrases make sentences. Okay, what is a phrase? A phrase is just several words that are thrown in together. Now it might make sense, but is it a meaningful sentence? Okay, now what is a phrase and what is a clause? Number one, a clause has a subject and a verb, but it's not exactly a full sentence. Okay, a phrase need not have a subject, need not have a noun. It's just more than one word. Okay, it is thrown in together, it makes some sense. Okay, a sentence on the other hand is a complete unit. It has some rules that are being safeguarded in the construction of that sentence. Okay, so in order to make a sentence, what all do we need? Number one, the most important part is So the most important part of a sentence is the verb. Okay, the verb is what connects everything together. On one hand, you have subject and then you have an object. Okay, so you have a subject and an object connected by a verb. This is the most basic sentence ever. Now also remember that the object is very optional. The subject is also optional. Sometimes it is just understood what the subject is, that you needn't really define the subject. But without the verb, there is no sentence. What is the verb? The verb denotes an action. Okay, so examples of words: run, do, write, speak. So you get the idea, right? Action happens in these words. Okay, what is the subject? When you have an answer to who runs, who does, who writes, who speaks, that's your subject. The who part of that is your subject. Okay, who does the action? Okay, that is your subject. For example, Usain Bolt ran a sprint. Usain Bolt sprinted, or Usain Bolt created a record. Okay, here create is a verb. Usain Bolt is your subject. Who created a record? Bolt created a record. Okay, now remember, without create there is no sentence. Okay, but you can make sentences without the subject. For example, I can say, go to the market and get me a couple of books, get me some stationery, switch on the light. Okay, so in this case, the subject is not defined. You just take it for granted that I'm talking to the next person, the person next to me. It is indeed addressed to the reader if it's a written statement, or to whoever I'm talking to. Hey, switch on the light. Okay, so in this case the subject is not mentioned, it is understood, but technically it is the sentence structure is it's a conforming sentence structure. Okay, so the subject is optional in some cases. Okay, now the object, what is the object? It is where the action happens. So the subject is whoever does the action. The object is where the action happens. For example, I wrote a book. Okay, now the verb here, I'll write it down for you. I wrote a book. Okay, this is the verb, there is no confusion here. A book. I is the subject. Any problem there? Who does the writing? I am the I am the subject. I am the one writing. Correct? So the verb and subject are connected. There is no confusion there. I am the doer. I write. I am the one who does the action of writing. Okay. Now, what did I write? This is the object. This is of course the article. We'll discuss about that a little while later. But the book is being written by me. Okay, so this is where the action is happening, the site at which action is happening. Okay, so now do you understand that subject, verb, object? This is the most common form of forming a sentence in the English language. Okay, without the verb there is no sentence. The other two, on the other hand, are optional. Okay, but they are optional only in a few sentences. There are cases where you cannot create a sentence without a subject and the corresponding object. Okay. Now, these are the most important parts of your sentence. The subject and object are typically nouns. Noun is an object of some sort. okay. I am a person, okay. Nouns, they have broadly proper nouns and common nouns, okay. So proper noun is your person, okay. For example, um, Trump, Modi, Kohli, okay. These are proper nouns. The city of Chennai, India, okay. All of these again are proper nouns. Common nouns, city, bottle, mouse, pen, keyboard, monitor, all of these are common nouns, okay. So you would know that by now, okay. So the noun is typically an object of some sort, sometimes a living person, sometimes you choose to capitalize it, it is a proper noun, or in other cases it's just a random ubiquitous object, okay. A tree, leaf, a chair, table, okay. Then verb, as I said, are your action words, okay. Then you have adjective and adverb. What is an adjective? Anything that qualifies or describes a noun is an adjective, okay. For example, house is a noun. Any problem there? You understand that, right? House is a noun. If I describe this house, I can call it small or big. Then I can say it's a red colored house. Then I can say it is a it's a very important place in my life, whatever, okay. So all of these words describe the house, and also remember that they are optional. You can still create a sentence without these adjectives. They give you additional information. You can still create the sentence without these. Got it? So these are adjectives. Adverbs, on the other hand, qualify the verb. He ran. How did he run? He ran very fast. Okay. So I can say the government is seriously looking into it, or the government is looking into it seriously. The seriously here is something, it's a word that qualifies, that describes the verb looking. Got it? So an adverb is a word that associates itself with the verb. The noun is modified by an adjective. There are times when there is a slight interchange, okay. An adjective can be used in place of an adverb, okay, but in that case it becomes an adverb, and vice versa. We'll also look at examples. Then, so noun and verb, that is done. Then we have article. You have three articles in the English language. These two are indefinite, while this is definite. Okay, an article, okay, a house, an umbrella, okay. So when you place an article in front of a vowel, okay, an indefinite article in front of a vowel, it is used as an, okay, it changes to an. For a consonant, you just use a, okay. It is to refer, it is very indefinite. For example, I might say, hey, you know what, go to the supermarket and buy me a bottle, or I can say go to the store and pick up an umbrella. Okay. So, in these two cases, the umbrella and the bottle are very indefinite. I don't know which bottle I am trying to pick, or there is no consensus on the identification of the bottle or the umbrella. Correct? In that case, we use indefinite articles. On the other hand, when something is very well defined, very well identified, for example, I say, hey, this is the dog that bit me. I know there is only one dog that has bitten me, and it is this dog. Okay. So, there is some identification, a very definite way of putting things there, that is the definite article. When do I use the definite article? This is the house where I grew up. This is the city that is closest to my heart. Okay. So, in all these cases, it is very definite. When it is definite, when the noun is very well identified, I use the definite article. In other cases, I use a or an. Okay. So, these are the very basic parts of speech. In case you have any, comments to share, please come up, just make use of the commenting forum and interact with me, please. In case you have any doubts, feel free to ask. Okay. So, do we have anyone commenting right now? May I know your name, what do you do, and what are your plans for the examination? How are you preparing? Anything at all? Something about you? So, today we will be discussing much more in detail about the noun. Okay. The noun, as I said, is an object. It can be a proper noun. So, proper nouns are names of people. For example, Deepa, that is my name. Deepa is a proper noun. Okay. I live in Bangalore. So, Bangalore is a proper noun again. Bangalore is part of Karnataka, proper noun. Okay. So, most proper nouns are capitalized. Okay. And then, what are common nouns? As I said, random objects lying right around you, most of them are common nouns. Okay. I'm wearing a black jacket. So, I have a mouse that is black in color. Okay. So, all of these are common nouns. Other, how else do you categorize nouns? There are collective nouns, there are singular nouns, plural nouns. Okay. For example, kid, that is a singular noun. When I put it in plural form, it becomes kids. Correct? Now, look at this. It is not as simple as that always. Also, although typically you just use add an s to the end of the word, you get a plural form. You get the plural form of that word. Look at this: child, children. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Okay, child, that is the singular form. Children is the plural form. Okay, then anything else? In some cases, furniture, this is always in plural. Okay, or singular. You cannot pluralize this form. Okay, when you talk of furniture, you talk of all the furniture here as one single entity. Okay, you cannot say the furnitures in this room. No, that is wrong. Got it? Okay, so that is singular and plural. Okay, then there is something called collective noun. Now look at this: people, that is plural, plural for person, correct? You're talking about multiple people, multiple persons. A group of people, okay, when you talk of it denotes one, correct? So, you put all these multiple people in one group and call them one single entity. So the entire phrase becomes singular. Okay, then you have keys. Keys is plural. The word keys is plural. Okay, you mean more than one key. But a bunch of keys, in that aspect, you put all the keys together and call it one single entity. You cannot say a group of keys, by the way. There are very specific terms that are used to conglomerate, to put together certain nouns. Okay, so it's always a bunch of keys. And then it's always a pride of lions, not a group of lions. Okay, so the collective noun for lions is pride. A wolf pack, a pack of wolves. Okay, a litter of kittens, a pride of lions. Okay, so remember that some of these words are very specific to these nouns. We will of course be doing something on that as well, but a little while later. But the idea here is all of these multiple nouns put together, they become a singular entity. Now, why am I teaching you singular and plural? We will see this here. One of the most basic premises of English grammar, that is, the rule is the subject-verb agreement. He likes music. They like music. He is singular. Any problem about that? We are talking about just one person. They is plural. Okay. So if you have a singular subject, the verb takes the singular form, which is likes. He likes music. It is not he like music. On the other hand, if we have a plural subject, we have a plural noun. They like music and not they likes music. Okay. So the most basic grammar rule that we are studying today, the subject-verb agreement rule. If you have a singular verb, singular noun for a subject, your verb is also singular. A plural subject takes a plural noun form. Okay. So this is about your basic rule. Now let's look at some examples and then I'll teach you the concepts via these examples. Okay. Now we see your banking examination will have a set of questions based on error spotting. Your job is to find out where there is an error, okay, and mark the error. That's it. In case there is no error, you just mark no error and move on to the next question. Now look at this. Although she claims she has studied English for several days, she is yet to learn the alphabets. At one go, you might think this is right, but that's not the case. Okay. Now the English alphabet has 26 letters: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Correct? Okay. Now remember, I said the English alphabet has 26 letters and not the alphabets are 26 in number. Okay. So the English alphabet, this is always in singular. This is the collective noun for the 26 letters that make the English language. Okay. So remember, it is always used as alphabet and not alphabets in this context. Okay. You can always say, you know what, when she writes, her alphabets are very slanting. They slant to the right or the left. Okay. That is right. But in this case, when you talk of the alphabet, the 26 letters, it is always in singular. So which part of this is wrong, which part of this needs correction, that is part C of the sentence. So your answer here is C. Okay. So you need to understand convention, collective nouns here. Okay. So the alphabet and not alphabets. Please make use of the commenting forum to get back to me if you have any doubt. Okay. Now look at this question. Kids make mischiefs if they have nothing else to do. Okay. Now, convention again, kids make mischief and not mischiefs. Okay. Mischief is always, in this context, a singular word. The noun is always used in singular and not in plural at all. It is wrong to say mischiefs. Okay. So the wrong part here that needs correction, that is B, kids make mischief if they have nothing else to do. The answer here is B. Anything else that is always in plural? Anyone? Would you like to comment? So we have seen that alphabet is in singular, mischief again is in singular. When you talk of annals of history, data, these are almost always in plural. You don't talk about a single annal in history. It's always annals of history. Okay. And then there is data. When you look at data, we seem to think of it as a singular entity, correct? That's not the case. Datum is the singular form, and then you have data. Similarly, there is memorandum, for which the plural form is, memorandum, memoranda, data, datum. Okay. So is quantum giving rise to quanta? I don't know, you should probably check on that. Anything else that you can think of? Please don't get back to me saying fulcrum and fulcra. Okay. So these are typically Latin words. So we'll also be discussing root words and all that in order to number one, gain some interest in how words came into being, two, to understand vocabulary, diction and all that. Okay. So why do some words mean whatever they mean? We'll look into that as well. Okay. So now look at this. The takeaway from this particular slide is alphabet, mischief, singular form. Okay. Now look at this. Sheeps are very useful and are reared in places like New Zealand and Scotland. Okay. So in these places, if you go, if you go there, you just find sheep, 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 sheep. Not many people. Okay. So sheep, one sheep, two sheep, unlike with three sheep, unlike with one dog, two dogs, three dogs, and so on. The plural form of sheep is sheep. Are there any other words that you know of where the plural form does not show any change? I can think of furniture. One chair, make it furniture. Two chairs, furniture, not furnitures. Anything else? Fish. One fish, two fish, three fish. The plural form of fish is fish. But that being said, there is a unique case here as well. It is right to say fishes. Okay, in a very unique case when you mean several species of fish. Okay, so let's say you're talking about 2 or 3 species of fish, then fishes makes sense. But when you talk of 1 fish, 2 fish, 3 fish, it is fish only and not fishes. Okay. Is it right to say populations? I can say the population of India is 1 billion. Okay, sounds right. Then I can also say that, first and foremost, population is a collective noun in the first place, correct? Then I can say the populations of Africa and Asia, blah, blah, blah. In this case, I talk of population of Africa and population of Asia, put them together with the conjunction and. Okay, so in that particular case, yes, my usage of populations is justified. Okay, so there are several conventions that come into play when you look at the English language grammar. You need to learn all that. Okay, and in several other cases, it's just common sense. Okay, now look at this. Sheeps are very useful and are reared in places like New Zealand and Scotland. In this case, A is your answer. There is a very definite error there. Sheep are very useful and are reared in places like New Zealand and Scotland. It's not sheeps. Okay. Why? Because the plural form of sheep is also sheeps, sheep, not sheeps. Got it? I'm yet to read the document. Sorry, there has to be a space here. And so I'm not aware of its content. So when you look at these three words, okay, when you say content, okay, remember this is an adjective when you put it in this particular sense. I am content with my life. Okay, she finds it hard to be content with her life. But when you say contents, then it means whatever is inside. I haven't read the document yet. I don't know what it contains. Okay, here in this case it is always contents and not content. Okay, so in this case C is your answer. Why did I write these two again? Now there is a very you can make out the difference between content and content only when you pronounce it. One is adjective, the other is noun. Okay, contents, by the way, the noun form is always in plural. Similarly with project and project, produce and produce, okay, the difference between the verb and the noun form is seen only when you pronounce it. Okay, for example, hey, my project involves long hours at work. In this case, I'm using it as a noun, so I pronounce it as project. He projects himself as the successor of this particular politician. So in this case, I'm using a project as a verb. Project, verb, project is noun. Similarly, produce. The produce from his farms were of top quality. Noun. Produce is noun. He produces some brilliant work from his studio. That is a verb. Produce. Got it? Next we move on to look at this. It is a fact that kids as young as 5-year-old boys, 5 years old boys are engaged in hazardous employment. Now, it is always 5-year-old boy and not 5 years old boy. Okay, she was a 42-year-old woman who became the Prime Minister of India. Okay, so when you have an adjective phrase, okay, now you're tempted to say 5 years because 5 is plural, and then you say, 5 years, but in this case it is 5-year-old boy. Okay, any problem here? I would really like some interaction, so please get on board on the commenting forum and let me know. Just grab this opportunity to leave a comment, say hi. Are you able to understand what I'm trying to say? Would you like something else to be, included in this class? Okay. So moving on to the next question. I handed over 100 rupees note as change. It is a very similar question here again. Okay, so here we saw 5 years old boys, then here we see 100 rupees note. Remember that it is 100 rupee note. The note here is the noun. This becomes the adjective phrase. Okay, 100 rupee note and not 100 rupees note. Although when we speak, it just comes naturally to us and we say, give me 100 rupees note. No, we are wrong there. The right form of that particular phrase is 100 rupee note. So here the answer is B, and here the answer is B again. Look at this. Her missing spectacle was found in the trash can. If you are talking about glasses that are worn on your nose bridge for better sight, then you're talking about spectacles. Why? Two lens make it a spectacle. Make it spectacles. But when you talk about a spectacle, you're talking about a view, a sight. The view from atop the hill was a spectacle. It was a weird spectacle to see the holy man being dragged across streets after allegations of misconduct came into the picture. Okay, so this spectacles, you're talking about this spectacle, you're talking about view or sight. Got it? Spectacles in this case, they are always used, it is always used in plural form. Other words that are similar to that: jeans, trousers. Why is that the case? It is two, okay. Scissors. So you put two two identical things together to come up with that one entity. It is always in plural: jeans, trousers, scissors. But generally you don't say my jeans, you say my pair of jeans. Okay, this pair of jeans is blue in color, these jeans are blue in color. Okay, this pair of trousers do not fit me anymore. These trousers do not fit me anymore. Get me a pair of scissors. So when you say a pair of, it becomes a single entity, but remember, it's never jean, trouser or scissor. Jeans, trousers, scissors. Any problem? So that's the issue here. Her missing spectacles were found in the trash can, or her missing pair of spectacles was found. Okay, so that is what is missing here. So this is the issue. Okay, next, 100 Years of Solitude are a great book by one of the best Spanish writers today. 100 Years of Solitude, Arabian Nights, or Satanic Verses. Okay, now these are names of books. Even though Satanic Verses, that is plural, you don't say Satanic Verses are among Rushdie's best work. You say Satanic Verses is one of Salman Rushdie's best ever books. Okay, so remember that these can be plural, okay, proper nouns, but if it's a single entity, then you treat it as a singular noun. Okay, so now we move on to our contest time. Good luck with your contest. You can probably, if you're online, just leave a message, a comment with the answer, with the right answer, and you will be awarded with an atom session, a free atom session, if you get the answer right, and if you're the first one to get it right, of course. What is an atom session? An atom session is one where you can get your doubts clarified by one of our experts. So reach out with the answer, please. I'm waiting. To 3 more questions. The country's morale was high because the news coming from ground zero are very encouraging. Okay, so the noun associated with this are, the verb here, that's news. News is always in singular. Hey, what is the evening news, you say? What are the evening news? Makes no sense. Okay, so here again, B is your answer. Okay, I can't join you on vacation because I have a lot of work and not works. Work is not countable. Okay, there is a lot of sugar in this coffee. I don't say there is a lot of sugars. Why? Sugar and work are not countable nouns. Okay, so these are always used as singular form nouns, never as plural form nouns. Okay, so here B is the answer again. The boy was leading oxes to his field for ploughing early in the morning. Ox, one ox, two oxen. Okay, the plural form of ox is oxen. It is, a lot of people, it's not just one or two, a lot of people think ox is the male animal while oxen is the female animal. That's wrong, that's entirely wrong. Okay, an ox by definition is always male, it's a working animal. Okay, and when you talk of a pair of ox entities, okay, it becomes oxen. The plural form of ox is oxen. Okay, so that brings us to the close of our session on Grammar 1, parts of speech, and we've seen several questions dealing with nouns. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. I would also like to mention something else here about our CPP or class practice packs. The CPP is a set of expertly curated questions, 10 questions in total, that would help you, carry these concepts from this class to your, application process. As an application questions, you would be making use of whatever you've learned and answering those questions. The CPPs are open only to passport members. So rush to become a passport member today. So thank you very much for your time. I hope it was helpful. See you then. Bye.